I'm going to open up this podcast with a question to you, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah. If 1,000 people were given the starting position that Molly May had, how many of them would be in the position that she is in today, being 22-year-old female, head of, was she a creative director now at PLT?
Yeah. She just got a new 7-figure deal today with a beauty company.
Yeah, so how many of those 1,000 people, if they were in the position, and let's not forget, I think people forget that Molly May was in that field prior to Love Island. Like Joey D said, she used to live in his apartment block, right? So she had a...
In Manny.
Yeah, in Manny. So I think people are just thinking that Love Island has propelled her into the position she is in today, which I think obviously it's helped massively, don't get me wrong, but that's why I said to you, how many of the 1,000 people, if they was in her position, would be where she is today?
And they had gone through the same things.
Because what other Love Islander really is doing what she's done? There's been some successful ones, don't get me wrong, but I'd say she's probably the most successful Love Island to come out of that show.
Yeah. Not all of them, that's for sure. I still think there's got to be... I've got no doubt that she's worked hard for what she's done, because it doesn't... Like, we see what happens when we come off those shows. You know, a lot of it negative, and a lot of it you get those connotations with. You're just going to sell teeth whitening strips. You're just going to sell the next booty. And I think it definitely takes a different sort of mind to be able to take a career from that. So I look at Wes Nelson. I look at our guy Adam as well, Adam Collard. You know, like they've taken their platform, realised that coming like that kind of 6-month period outside of Love Island is not sustainable. Of just like, right, let's get all the fucking deals in. And probably make a shitload of money and probably feel absolutely fantastic for it, but it's not sustainable in the long term. So she's going to have a lot of...
Yeah, she's always had that entrepreneurial element, I suppose, because a lot of them go into that show, come out, and then they do the 12-month, 10 to 12-month period where they like do all the promos, but then they're like, well, what next? Because as soon as the next Love Island lot come in, they're forgotten about, they're finished. But you sent me quite an interesting extract from it was exactly the same podcast from Stephen Bartlett, whose book is brilliant, by the way. You need to read that. It's the first.
Yeah,
I mean, he's very like not anti self-help, but like he's quite from that position whereby they don't really do anything. Do you know what I mean? It's all very contextualized to that particular person. It's always almost like an autobiography, and you can't really pull much motivation from someone else's success, but he absolutely knows. It's the first book I've read. Every page is like, yes, this is exactly what I need to hear. But Grace was on the same podcast, and she spoke about that sort of privilege element quite openly and sort of nailed it.
Very well. She actually prefaced the conversation with it.
Yeah.
And she said, I am white, I'm a girl, I went to Oxford and Cambridge, I'm able-bodied, and she kind of listed off those things. And the issue with this whole Molly May thing, we're talking about Molly May, by the way. Everyone.
Yeah, we are. Sorry, I forgot to mention it.
On the #1 podcast in the world at the moment. And the whole thing could have been, the entire blow-up could have been stopped if she said, there are people that can't do all this stuff. And that's literally it. There's a small percentage that don't have the able-bodiedness, the mentality, they haven't been born into the right family, haven't been born in the right place because...
But that's, I mean, yeah, sure, it's a little bit naivety, but she's a 22-year-old. I mean, I'm 28 now, I still don't have it locked in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying she should have been trained, she should have been, but then there's that element of almost quite niceness to it, is that relatability that she hasn't been trained.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because she can't win. If she went in there, had the correct media training and didn't say that and came off, people would still... She still get berated for not addressing it. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's a lose-lose. And it's weird because it's the same people that have built her up are now taking her down.
Yeah.
So all of the thousands, and especially the females that are supposed to, you be united, they're just the first chance.
They're on Tattle.
Yeah. Oh, mate. I didn't even really realise about that particular website.
Tattle. Where you go tell tattletales on the people that you look up to. Basically.
We're not on there yet.
Yeah.
Well, no, I say yet. I don't ever want to be on there.
Yeah, don't put me on there. You know what? I think it's a difficult one because while she's 22, you know, I only fuck all at 22. I would not want to be put on a podcast being a millionaire, having, you know, a millionaire boyfriend with all the pressure that she's probably got on her, then start to be asked these questions because it's a very, very pressure-filled environment. Maybe she doesn't feel the pressure, but I certainly would.
That's the first one she's done. That's the first sit-down interview.
I mean, slip up is normal, right? And like, let's be real. Her slip up was in my opinion, in my unprofessional opinion, was I'm trying to get the right words. She had no malice in what she was saying.
No, of course not.
So I think Molly's was out of pure naivety.
Yeah.
Pure, like, I have not experienced or been told about, or my parents haven't educated. The schools I went to never had, you know, that type of, basically the people that she was ignoring, right? Like, she's not been exposed to extreme poverty. She's not been exposed to, or she's not been taught about, or she just forgot it in the moment.
But it's hard because you're going on a podcast where the narrative is often, you know, arbitrary sound bites of business jargon, whereby if that was a bloke sitting there, that particular quote would have been taken and spread everywhere. Like I said the other day, if Gary Vee had said that, he'd be plastering like, yes, we do. We'd see it as motivation. But I feel like there's this particular element within the UK whereby we don't like it when people get too successful. Like, we start to this up into a point, and when they start to overstep that mark, we go, oh no, actually no, it's too much. She doesn't help herself though. I think she put up a job position the other day for a social media marketing manager, right? Start, yeah, 16k, 2 years, and I just thought, oh, you're not helping yourself here.
You just
millions in the bank, you just got up for 16k with what's going on in inflation at the moment.
Yeah,
and house prices.
Maybe it was part time.
I think it didn't really affect me, to be honest with you. I thought it was like I can understand why people are getting a little bit angry, but what I found more damning on that particular podcast was when she spoke about the fact that she's got no social life. You know, she doesn't really care to have a social life. She's so hell bent on business. And I thought her target audience, if they listen to that anywhere between 14, 15, 16 upwards to 20, that's more damning, especially in today's kind of isolated period whereby we mental health and anxiety is through the roof constantly. To hear a big figure like that say, you don't really need a social life, you don't really need friends, that's only going to cause more. And that's what I took from that. I remember I've listened to the podcast twice now, and I wrote some notes on it, and I thought that's deep for someone of 22, and I thought it was a little bit sad. Like 22, I was out and about. And
I wonder whether she feels like that now because she's come out of Love Island, where she probably had all these deals thrown at her. All her friends started wanting stuff from her, so she probably had to cut a few off. She's super famous now, can't go out in public, so she wants to be on her own. And like the only thing that she probably can do at peace is work, you know, because she can go into the Pretty Little Thing offices. They're all used to seeing her. They've probably been told not to hassle her and take photos.
Yeah.
Or she's at home with a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that kind of, I see that with a lot of successful, famous people, probably not successful, but famous people. They're isolated. They feel like they prefer being on their own bits because there's just too much going on the outside. So I wonder whether she said to herself, I don't need friends really, I got my close circle and that's it. It's probably because it's very hard to get a friend. Like
true,
to accept someone into that circle where, and I said this about Brandon, I don't think he's ever going to watch this, but I said this about Brandon, why when we had our little tiff at the beginning, we don't need to go into it, I kind of understood why he like put his barriers up, and I understand why Molly would put her barriers up, because every friendship or person she meets could probably get something from you. You have what they want. So like you could have one post from Molly May and you're a beautiful girl, you're her friend, you've got 10,000 followers overnight.
Of course.
So it's like she can build people's dreams. So I think it's quite hard for people like that to have friendships like that. So that's probably why. But 22, like feeling like that, it's a lonely place.
No, it is. I know. I think it says a lot about us all, like the current situation of the political climate that's going on at the moment. That's taken priority and concern. I wish people would invest more of their time into the real issues than what a 22-year-old has said. But that's cancel culture for you, man. It's right. As obviously with the whole El Derby situation as well. I feel like I'm this sort of new compassionate individual, and there's a part of me that thinks, oh my God, imagine going into the new year like that.
That's all I can think about when I see that situation. Like, obviously, I don't know if anyone has seen the El Derby stuff, but she basically had a load of tweets when she was younger. We say younger, 17, 16 years old. So, in my opinion, you're pretty well off in your formation of your brain and your opinions of people. Said a load of, like, she was racist, she was homophobic, she was fatphobic, she was transphobic, she was...
I mean, I'm impressed with the amount of people that she's managed to...
She's had a list, and she's...
Yeah, 100%. She's only left off Gingers. We're next.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the amount of... these whole, like, tweets that were said is always a bit of a grey area for me. Like, I remember when Stormzy said something when he was about like 13, 14, it was just one isolated tweet.
Yeah.
But this was like a plethora of quiet.
It was a string of 10, 15, 20 tweets.
Yeah.
So this is like ongoing conversation she's had in her own head. And she thought this would be good to put out. And obviously she's had people who have like reacted positively to it, so she's kept doing it.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, I suppose. Yeah. And then, but in the vlog as well, man. Like, in front of the camera.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I mean, that's like an extreme version of what Molly May has gone through. And this is kind of what pissed me off about this Molly May thing. Like, she's basically just missed out a sentence, and the whole thing would have been fine.
Yeah.
Granted, she probably should be thinking about it in her position. If she's going on a public podcast, she should be having that type of conversation with herself before, or at least prefacing things like that, because... And you got to be humble. You got to know that you're privileged. You got to know that not everyone falls on your feet like this and is a multimillionaire. It's very rare. But El Derby was racist.
Yeah, 100%. It has to be called for what it is. Yeah,
the line. And I thought, like, how is Molly May getting anything when this has just happened?
I know. Yeah, I know, because I was having a conversation with my mate, and it was like El Derby must have been going when this whole Molly May thing, and then it's like kicked back in again. But that whole concept of cancel culture is insane. Obviously, it's hard to kind of agree with it, but there are certain situations where, like, well, that just can't be. You know, if I was employed and those tweets came out, I'm out of a job.
Yeah,
I'm done now. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm out of a job. I can't continue to work for a company with that.
Yeah,
but there is that element of like, what are they doing at the moment? Like, they must not be able to go. I mean, she's big time now, isn't she? Like, let's be honest.
She's huge. She was. We were just having a conversation before this podcast. She was at 797.
Yeah.
So 800,000 followers. Probably over 500,000 on YouTube, I expect. And she had a cult. A cult. Angels, You Do You Boo, like her Angel collection, fucking killed it. And
now she's been dropped.
And now she's been dropped by her talent agent. She's lost over 110,000 followers, which would have been her active ones. I think a lot of these people who are in the millions, they got a lot of inactive followers or people who just forgot and they follow them and they get lost in the algorithm. That's 110,000 people who probably would have bought stuff from her.
100%.
Who have just like lost. So, you know, you translate that into £20 an item.
Yeah.
100,000 people. Yes, you're losing millions. That's 2 million.
It is.
You know, you're going to lose a lot of money. And it's kind of crazy. I mean, what do you think? Do you think if you get to that point in fame that you have to start thinking, did I make a tweet like that? Like, I went on my Facebook the other day thinking,
did you?
Have I said anything like that back in the day? Surely not.
Yeah, I suppose her, you know, the element of her growing up has had some effect. But then obviously the biggest things it was a few years ago, and like I said, well, time doesn't condone that level of racism. There's never been a time whereby I've even thought something like that and gone, let alone tweet it. But then we're trying our best to kind of let her off here, but I don't think she should be let off. Is a very, very. I think like I said, the concept of cancel culture is, it happens overnight, right? It just blows. And the tricky situation with cancel culture is that a lot of the time, there's never been like it's only a small segment of it. So you could cancel someone and never have an idea of the what's really happened. But yeah, the Abu Dhabi situation is very, very, very tricky. I don't know where you really go from there.
I think the hardest thing about that cancel culture is like, yes, Elle and Connor have been quote unquote cancelled, but and everyone's cheering and everyone's saying the most horrible things you can say to people. They're saying about them, but those are people. Those are humans who have now. They've just had a baby.
Yeah.
They're going to lose their talent management. They're going to lose hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds a year. They're not going to get sponsorship money anymore. No one's going to watch her videos anymore. And her entire identity has just been, quote unquote, cancelled. And I just think about the toll that takes on those three humans and the little baby as well, you know, and the family and the sister, and, you know, she lost her mum, and you just think about all these different things as a human. Granted, she shouldn't have said that shit.
Yeah.
But the process of cancel culture is fucking brutal. So it's like a grey area. It's like a moral grey area. It's like, yes.
Of course, because there'll be people listening going, what are you even doing excusing him? Like, they don't, do you know what I mean? There's some people
That's the thing.
that are very, very passionate about that.
Like, it's very, very, very hard to comprehend from a moral standpoint, because it's like, yeah, they fucked up and they should feel the repercussions. But I don't know whether those repercussions are like too much. Like, I don't want to say the things that come through my head when I think about how far those people are going to get pushed, how far Elle is going to go into her mental turmoil now.
Of course.
You know, and it's like...
Of course, because me and you talking about it, we forget, like the Drake 72 hour, like we really, especially if you haven't been affected by it, we'll probably forget about it and whatnot. But then what if me and you did one Instagram post or a tweet in a pool of hundreds of thousands of people, that can really get on top of someone, and it is tough. Like, fucking hell, man. I mean, I've said a few things. I remember when I went through a spate on YouTube, right, of being very political. I used to speak so much about politics, man. Like left, Labour, and my numbers just dwindled.
Yeah.
And I learnt the hard way not to openly voice my opinion on politics, which is hard, because you want to be like as transparent as possible, but then there's also things where you can't say that.
You can't.
Like you really can't open about politics.
Yeah, and I think that I think even talking about cancel culture is one of those things. It's like politics, you know. It's like it's black and white. Like, some people are on one side, some people are on the other side. Like, people think, nah, fuck this bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck this bitch. Get her out. Don't care what happens. It's disgusting.
But some people don't believe in it. There's a couple of people on TikTok that I watched, and they're like, I just don't believe in it. Like, she will be fine, and she will resurface very soon, and everything will get forgotten about. And
maybe.
Like,
it's happened before, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I don't think... Yeah, I mean, it's good. Even if she does come back, it's going to be a long old slog.
I think my biggest example of someone recovering from that is Logan Paul, when he was in the suicide forest in Japan.
Oh my god, yeah, I thought he was done.
And they filmed it, and he fought Floyd Mayweather this year, and made 50 million from it.
Yeah, and that I suppose that's humble, because I watch a lot of his content now, and he's very much the opposite of his brother. He's like matted down quite a lot. He speaks, him and KSI speak quite openly about kind of relationship issues and mental health and anxiety, which I think is fantastic. And I think it took you know that particular incident to humble him down.
100%, man, because he was like off the chain, but still not racist though, is he?
Yeah. Yeah, well done for getting that back in.
It's
so
still
true.
not homophobic.
He filmed quite a grotesque thing to film.
Yeah, which is horrible. And it's probably very offensive for Japanese culture specifically.
Yeah.
For the rest of the world, it's just a horrible thing to do. But it's not fucking racism. It's not like homophobism. It's not like hating like a group of people.
That whole incident had a right knock-on effect of our YouTube AdSense when that happened. Do you remember?
It's crazy. That was like the start of it, because he had on that video that had 50 million views of the suicide forest, he had like Pampers or something, you know, like nappies on it, and they were like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you putting my ads on that?" And that almost changed YouTube, because
100%.
You know, they started introducing mature content and mature adverts, and like, is this content for kids? That's when that all started happening.
I still feel like that's why I feel like I've seen your views go back up now. I feel like we're in a little bit of a better position. I went for a really rough patch that September, October, November, December. I was like, I just felt like giving up. I was like,
That's how I've been there before.
I'm just so done with like putting effort into content for it to get 3k views when before I was getting 30, 40, 50.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's on the up. And for me, it was also a transition period from like bodybuilding to like this lifestyle thing. And I just had to, I sort of psychologically said to myself, imagine that you are starting your business venture from today and every view is a bonus.
Yeah.
So when I was kind of changed that mindset, I was like, okay, cool, this is perfect now. But yeah, I remember that knock-on effect because I wasn't getting paid loads from YouTube, but I was getting paid a hell of a lot more than I was back in the day on like 30k subs compared to like nearly 60k now, which is insane. But yeah, nice. It's well done for pointing out that Logan Paul thing. I think him and KSI are going at it. They've just released a product together, haven't they? They just released some
Prime.
Is it energy drink?
It's a hydration supplement. So they basically I've watched all the podcasts and stuff. So I'm well versed.
Are you like a fan?
I'm a fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I just
Big fan.
something about KSI I can't really. I think he's great. I think he was at the boxing the other day, but I just think
He's matured a lot.
yeah, he's definitely
matured
matured.
a lot.
I prefer his content now.
Yeah.
Whereas the whole kind of screaming thing, that's the sort.
I watch the long form content. Like I do a little bit of the Simon podcast, who by the way are in the fucking same.
They're next door. I think it's the Sidecast. Is it something like that?
Something like that.
They're all in there. We should collab.
Yeah, they probably want to collab with us. To be fair, but like, is that off the cuff now, man?
Yeah, they
same
should
conversation.
be. The views have been good so far. We greatly appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, we've cracked 10,000 for sure in the first podcast. So yeah, I'm a consumer of the long form of like Logan and KSI. So like, you learn their personalities a little bit more. So they've released a energy drink which is 0 calorie with electrolytes in it to come compete with Gatorade and Coca-Cola.
Oh, is that the angle they're going for?
They want to be the next Coke.
Yeah, but I mean, and they can do it because they're following.
They dropped, without one single promo on the internet, 3 million bottles have been sold to Costco, Kroger, Trader Joe's, and I think like one other one. 3 million in it, and they're about $2 a pop. So they've just 6 mil done without dropping anything. Not one advert. They've just like approached the owners because they've got the right connections.
That's Adele's level of marketing. Can drop an album on the day and it's gone.
Crazy.
That's insane. But they are in a very great, like they're in a solid position to be in, whereby anything they could release due to the sort of fanboys.
Yeah.
Like his music. I mean, I'm sorry if he's listening to this.
Or if you're next door.
If you're next door, yeah, fucking hell. I have to mug him off. I just can't get into the music, man. But then he'll go. He'll headline like a festival,
and they're all singing the song.
And they're all singing. I just think, what's happened? This YouTuber that did it was FIFA, wasn't it? I remember I used to watch a bit of his FIFA, and his brother as well. But it's a bit like that level of humour for me. I find it really like young Philly.
Yeah.
I think him and Chunks are fantastic, but then sometimes that screaming that he does, I'm like, I can only sustain this for a prolonged period. I think he's absolutely hilarious. I was watching Chunks' old YouTube videos the other day, and I was in absolute stitches.
He's so good, isn't he?
Absolute stitches. And to see his rise has been incredible.
And he's so humble, man. He's so humble.
Yeah, because he openly speaks about like when he gets paid, he'll cut Philly in just straight, like get paid 100k and he'll cut Philly in 50k just for no. And then he was like, no, that's the normal thing to do. And Philly was like, that is not normal.
Yeah.
You just got paid 100 bag for this and I'm getting dough for it.
Yeah.
Like that is some brother shit, mate. That is incredible. But that's very interesting to see that whole energy drink game. Are you thinking ever about supplementation? Is this something that...
So I've actually...
You've opened up a...
Yeah, people are very fucking nosy, aren't they?
Cool.
They find out straight away.
I said this to you the other day that I felt like almost vulnerable that my financial...
Yeah, you can get your counselling.
Yeah. No, I don't want that up there.
I know, but it's part of the fucking...
Part of the process.
You've got to be open. Yeah, I put up a post a long time ago now, I think maybe 6 months ago, I opened this business. And I said... Someone asked me about not about supplements, about businesses. And I said, I've just opened up a new one. Within 5 minutes, about 5 people have said, supplements, because it's called one of my supplements. And I was like, fucking hell. So basically, I took $5,000 out of one of our, put it into one of our supplements to use that $5,000. And that's the same thing that I did with one of my, by the way. took $5,000 out of my coaching account and my sponsors that I built for I had to save that $5,000 for like 6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I put it into one of my, spent the whole $5,000, sold the whole stock, and just rinsed and repeated.
Yeah.
So I was going to do the same model with one of my supplements, but it's been an absolute bastard to get anything done. I've got the tubs done, I've got the designs done.
Really? We're that deep into it?
Yeah, I've got everything
My
done.
man.
I got a few formulas which took about 6 weeks to even do.
Yeah.
But no one wants to make any fucking money. No one wants to treat this seriously. I sent out 10, 15 emails, probably got 2 replies, and both of them were just like, no, you're not gonna.
To who the email's been sent to?
I don't give a shit. So the owner, one of the head formulators of CMP.
Oh, I see. Like as in actual supplementation companies.
People who perform, whatever, they white label it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or they put your custom supplements, your ingredients into a thing, and they'll make it for you, make it taste nice.
Yeah.
And offer you suggestions. So I did like the owner, like one of the formulator at CMP. There's one called White Label Labs. I did like 10 of them, and I made sure like that they understand that I'm not gonna go and buy like 1,000 fucking tubs, because it's like 10, 15, 20 grand, and I'm not gonna drop that when I don't have proof of concept. I said, look, I'm Josh Bridgman.
You went in with the name. Oh,
I said, no, I was like, I'm Josh. I'm a YouTuber. I said, I got like 50,000 subscribers. I get 10, 15,000 views. I got this on this.
Go on, boy.
So they can see the future plan.
Yeah.
I said, look, I got one of this company. We did this much money the last year, and this year it's been a 1,000% increase. I expect the same for supplements. You know, so like invest into my idea, not just like, and they're like, nah, minimum order quantity.
I love how you put your name in. I do that in brackets. My name's Tom Small, aka Tim Cycles. It works sometimes. Like, oh, Tom. Or like if I'm buying a fitness related product in the company, I'll put TM Cycles just so on the off chance someone goes, I've done it a couple of times, and I'll get my product and there'll be loads of stuff in there, and I'll be like, oh, thanks. It's a hard market to crack. I worked for De Novo Nutrition for about a year. And we travelled to like factories and different warehouses, and it is a slog. Even like Luke, if we got Luke Johnson and spoke to him on here, he'd be like, "Don't do it."
Yeah.
Like unless you are top, unless you're like KSI, Logan Paul position, it's so hard.
It's difficult because I'm in that position where I know people would buy it regardless.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, and I've always said this about business, and it came up my story the other day. Actually, people were like, "Why are you copying people?" Someone said,
I saw that.
Why did you complain?
The bottles was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, bottles are very generic, aren't they?
He's like, why do you complain at people copying your cuffs when you copy other people's ideas, like a 1 litre shake? And I'm like, it's a little bit different. Like,
there is a difference between a bottle and a cuff.
But I've always said, like, copying something is absolutely fine, because if you're gonna, like, just as an example here, my wrist wraps, right? They are no better than anyone else's. Because wrist wraps, the ones for like pressing.
I don't know.
Straps
okay, yeah, the straps.
The straps are better.
I'd say are better.
But the wraps
are wrap.
Wraps are wrap. Like they've been around for 50 years. Like there's only so many ways you can make a wrap. There's the thumbless one, which is pretty fucking cool. I haven't done that one yet. But a wrap is a wrap. Like you can't do better. All I've done is taken some cool colors and put my name on it. Because if you have X company that you don't really know versus Josh Bridgman or myself or Tom or Joe or anyone else who you invest in and love, like who's you gonna buy? Like, you're gonna buy mine. So like just to be a face of a pre-workout, a pump product, like people would just buy it naturally. But I obviously want it to be a successful, good product. I don't want it just to be a.
There's more dates released than any supplementation.
Yeah, he does Gorilla Mind.
Gorilla Mind, that's it.
He was saying that I'm trying to think of the names. Sush, you know that guy?
No.
His name's Sush, SOOSH,
right.
And another guy. They have 120,000 followers.
Right.
They turn over 20 to 30k each, paid to them. So they're turning over 200 or 300 grand a month because they're getting their 10% percentage, and they've got Urises, both of them. And they're 21, 22. 100,000 followers. They're sponsored by Gorilla Mind. I saw them on a podcast. And they turn over 20, 25 grand a month.
I mean, for the formulations as well is always going to be, especially when you got the likes of Dr. Dean on the market.
Am I going to compete? Like, probably not.
Yeah.
You know? And like, my issue with sponsorships is probably the same with you now. Now that we've been with Insight for so long, I couldn't go to a solo brand.
No, no, of course
It's
not.
so difficult because it's like, I couldn't say that 1MR is the best pre-workout you're ever going to have because there's probably a better one.
Yeah, and I think people have clocked on to the success that you get as an individual athlete when you have a variety of different products. Because obviously when you are just... Because I remember when I first started trying to get involved with like bulk powders and buying their products and tagging them, and then there was an element of, hold on, what if someone doesn't like this pre-workout? I can't, what am I supposed to say? Whereas at Insight we have, 30, 40 different ones. So if a client of mine...
Curated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's the top quality, highest brands that we can probably stock. So in the case of that's the thing, like different pump formulas as well. The fact that we can go, if you want a more of a nootropic based pump formula, if you want X of this or that, and it's so more advantageous. But yeah, I could never go into... I even think if the money was insane, I don't think I
was just going to ask that. What, like, we don't have to talk about numbers. Like, I feel like a sellout. Even if they doubled my wage, I'd feel like a sellout.
Yeah,
it'd be nice though.
Yeah, no, I mean, I pride myself way too much on... I remember when I first started with Insight and Danny was like, easy, mate, because I used to just review products and go, that's shit. It tastes like garbage. Like, he sent me a load of Redcon stuff and I was like, this is horrific. And he was a bit like, fuck. Just bought 1,000 tubs of that. Like, what am I supposed to do? But I don't think I could go to an individual supplement brand after what we've done. But it should be good, man. I'm looking forward to next year. Or this year, actually, we've got a few... I think we're doing Body Power FitX again.
Is he doing Body Power?
He's not really spoken about, is he?
I've been looking at getting a standard Body Power.
1MR?
They're like hyenas. For 1MR. I put an email to them saying how much for this, and they send you over the map and you can choose and everything.
Yeah.
They're like hyenas.
Really?
Every day calling me. They called me every day for like the last 10 days. I'm just like, get the fuck off my phone. If I'm going to pay it, I'm going to pay it.
Yeah, of course. But then aren't they so extra? Like a plug socket is going to cost you an extra...
you know what? It was quite good. It was, I say quite good. Depends how you see the investment.
You're careful, you're privileged.
Yeah.
Yeah? We don't all have the same money as you or 24 hours
It's business money. It's not my money.
Good save.
It's like, it's about $3.5 grand for a 3x3.
Okay.
And they will, they'll put it up and take it down for you every day, and they'll do stuff like that. It's a pretty small one, and you can like choose where you want to go. So like you can kind of choose tactically to be close to the big brands if you can. Cost a little bit more, but it's like for every meter you pay like an extra 1,500 quid
per day or for the weekend.
For the weekend.
I mean, that's doable. I think it's a good idea to. I suppose you have to kind of look at it from that point of view where the investment isn't essentially coming straight back. It's the fact that we're...
Yeah. I was just thinking if Insight aren't there.
Yeah.
Just to have a place to stand.
Absolutely. Me and Joe would be more than happy to chip in. And I mean, it's good, isn't it? Because we've always been in that position whereby we've flirted with the idea of getting our own booth just to kind of be that presence for people to go, right, Tom or the BBC or there, which I think is a real good idea. I think we should definitely consider it, mate.
If they don't do Body Power anyway.
That's a shout.
But yeah, what else is there? There was the one in Liverpool. Is that they doing that one again?
FitX are taking up. I like Fit. I mean, I compete with them, so it may sound a little biased, but I really like the way everything ran there. I think it's nice to have another federation coming up for, especially with what happened with Two Bros last year. They've rebranded, haven't they? Two Bros.
New logo.
You can't say too much. You compete with them, don't you?
I shall say nothing.
Yeah, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. I am in big trouble. I saw you post one of their posters the other day. When are we looking at sort of dates for you to? Yeah,
so that was.
Was this another video that's coming out?
No, that's fine. I feel like Cal is like rallying his team because I saw Hader post it. I saw another one of his team post it as well. So I feel like he's just sent out the message to all of us that we should do it. It's basically the chairman or the CEO. I don't know which one he is. Ian Chamberlain, One Bro Pro. I think that's his name on Instagram. It's his pro show.
Got you.
End of July 31st, and it's a Olympia qualifier for men's physique and women's.
Really,
women's
it's an Olympia qualifier.
Yeah.
End of July though.
July 31st.
February, March, April, May, June, July. 7-ish months.
Yeah. we'll see how we get on. But it was either that or the Arnold, which I've applied to. You have to kind of get accepted into the Arnold.
Or invited.
You have to get in. Or invited.
Or invited.
Yeah, or invited.
There's a reasonable chance of you getting invited, though, surely. Didn't Joe get invited?
No, he had to apply as well.
Right, I got you.
I just think, like, logically, like, what do you want from someone? You want someone who's got a bit of an audience, you know, home soil English.
Yeah.
Pro
That's
debut.
that privilege coming through again.
Well, yeah, it's true.
You know, but it's a brand, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's a brand, and they do want someone to represent that whole. It's like the whole Love Island thing. My mate's applying to get in at the moment, right?
Yeah.
He's getting far as well.
Really?
And I think with the way they set up Love Island is that they'll obviously want half of them or a select group of them to have some form of stronghold in the social media game. But I think it's very rare that you just see a complete randomer.
Yeah.
That's just got like. But then there's been a couple. I think Jack Fincham was just like he's a pen salesman, wasn't he?
Yeah, he sold pens.
So there needs they I suppose they have to have that balance to it. But yeah, my mate's applying and he's getting really far, and I think he'd be quite good in there.
If you got he's probably looking for potential, aren't they?
Of course,
they've done this for fucking.
You got a bit of chat. I mean, I don't know where they go. It's getting to the point there where it felt like, I mean, it was last season, the season before that, where like Love Island was about to get cancelled because obviously the stuff, the repercussions of the tragic loss of Sophie and Mike as well. And it was like getting to the point now, why, and of course Caroline as well. It's like, why aren't they being proactive at like a set? Do you know what I mean? Speaking openly about this.
I mean, maybe they are behind closed doors. I mean, maybe they offer them support. Maybe they offer them training in social media.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the full ins and the outs.
No, I think they do now. I think that's like a big.
They probably had to start doing that.
Yeah, same as when Big Brother first started. I think it was just everyone's thrown in. I don't know how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
Because I've been like a true diehard Love Island fan. I love it.
Yeah.
I might go in there myself.
Oh, that'd be good, man.
I might apply.
Yeah,
just
you're
like,
so good at that. You should just only introduce yourself as TM Cycles as well.
hello, ladies.
Yeah, TM
Cycles from South East London. Might go in Casa or more. The grass is greener. I don't know if I could hack it in there, man. I don't know if I could hack it.
You're right. You'd find that balance. I think because I think you said, or maybe I watched Joe. I mean, same with Rob actually. Joe and Rob, they both did it, didn't they?
Joe.
Or one of them do X on the Beach.
Oh, Joey D did. What did Joey D do? Yeah, I think Joey D did X on the Beach. No, he didn't do Love Island.
And Rob did.
Lipsy did Love Island, didn't get a look in, bless him.
Yeah.
But I think, and then I spoke to him in my bar about it, and that's just like him being himself.
Yeah, because he couldn't like.
There needs to be that element.
The drama.
Yeah, of course.
They tell you to like ramp it up, and
yeah. Because a lot of times they'll have conversations and it'll be like, right, can you do that again?
Yeah.
So like if me and you having a conversation and the cameras weren't looking at us, they'd say, well, can you do that again? You think, I haven't got it in me to act. That's my only problem. Yeah. Like I couldn't.
You'd stir a bit of shit though.
I could stir shit, yeah. I could get it right going. But I don't, that part of me having to like live up to the expectation of what the directors or producers want, I'd find very difficult.
Yeah.
I'd hope that just my South East London charm would be enough.
Yeah.
I'd just say have the cameras on me all the time, right?
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some gold coming out.
I think one of the things I wanted to just touch upon on this podcast is something that we talked about actually. Obviously, we talked about like sponsors and building a platform.
Yeah.
I guess one of the biggest questions is what do you do to build a platform? What do you do to get a sponsor? Because I see a lot of people messaging me. Actually, since I started talking about maybe bringing on athletes for One Amar,
yeah,
I'll get people message me like, I want to be an athlete. Can you put me on the list?
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of prerequisites, I feel, but like they got to be unspoken because no company wants to come out and say you need followers. Like no one really wants to say that.
Yeah.
But there are prerequisites to kind of a business transaction, and I think a lot of people would like advice on those types of things. Our prerequisite is with not everyone can do this.
No, because Danny gets that a lot, doesn't he, with insight? Because bless him, Danny, he needs to understand the concept world. You don't have to answer every question on the Q&A.
I see a lot of people do that, to be fair.
Like I'll have about 50, 60 Q&As and I'll do about 10.
Yeah.
Or ones that fit what I'm doing at the moment. Bless him, he answers every single one, and he'll repeat himself about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
But that's the big one that I see is like, how do I get sponsored? And I feel like it's not desperation, but I feel like a lot of people correlate success, like they've made it when they're sponsored. Whereas I think that me and you just sort of not necessarily came naturally, but we're in a position whereby a lot of following's growing a little bit. We're competing. We want supplements at our disposal. Whereas I think a lot of people are like, right, I need a sponsor. Yeah. I need a company to take me to that next step. But I think bodybuilding sponsorship with supplementation has changed massively.
It's changed so much. I was just going to say that. When I came up, I was that guy you're talking about. I needed a sponsor. Yeah. So I wrote to Alphalete, I wrote to Gymshark. I made a video to Gymshark, and I sent them a video application.
Wow.
When they didn't even ask for it. It's fucking awkward. I'm like, I've been following Gymshark forever. It's my dream, all this kind of stuff. I applied to My Protein, bulk powders, Redcon 1. I did Optimum Nutrition. I did.
Wow.
I applied to all of them. I sent them all emails because I thought if I get a sponsorship, that's my big break.
Yeah.
And actually, it's kind of the opposite way around. Like, it's the company should need you to elevate each other rather than you relying on a company. Like, I thought if I'm sponsored by Gymshark, I'm going to get 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
But even if I had got sponsored by Gymshark, that would not have happened. And that was something that I needed to understand, that in the world of getting a sponsor, it's a transaction. We are giving you something, but we need something in return.
Of course.
And more often than not, it's eyes.
Yeah.
How many eyes can you get on this? How many eyes can you get on that? But not only that, but what are the value of those eyes? Are those eyes looking and then looking away, or are they looking and then having a conversation with you as well? And that's one thing that I think where we have probably done better than a lot of influencers is like our following is fucking true. It is like true. We all like our likes to comments to following ratio is like much higher than a lot of people because we've developed this brand that just allows people to be very, very, very like like interactive with each other.
Yeah, no, it's true. That is one of the more frequent ones as well. Is when I do get sponsored, I get a lot of questions. I've just started influencing and I've got 10, 20k followers. How much should I charge? Now, there are websites whereby you can put your name in and they will churn out some sort of generic percentage or figure that you can.
And it's high.
And it's so high.
It's crazy.
And I think. Because I had a meeting with a manager the other day, and I was like, "Am I massively undercutting myself here?" And he was like, "Yeah." Like I tell him how much I charge for a post, and he'd be like, double it, triple it." And I think, that's it's a little bit like you're just saying no situation. I feel a little bit, I don't know if I can actually say I want that amount of money.
Yeah, I think where I realised that I could charge more money was with Legend London. I've told you this story.
Yeah.
They first, I always wore Legend London for years and years and years because I got influenced by people and realised they were good jeans. Then they messaged me and they're like, "We want to work with you." I was like, "Oh shit, like, that's cool. Like, we're gonna send you whatever you want, like whatever you want. So maybe £400 or £500 worth of clothes, and we're gonna pay you." They're like, "How much do you charge?" I was like, £100. I literally said like £100. Like, what do you mean? You're sending me £500 free clothes? Like,
yeah,
I don't even need the money. I don't even need the money. And they actually replied to that saying, "We think you're worth more than that."
Did really?
They replied saying, "We think you're worth more than that," and they paid me $250. So they paid me $250 for 2 posts and a mention in my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and all the clothes as well.
At what stage though in your influencer career was this in terms of numbers?
What am I now? Maybe 60, probably around 30,000, maybe sometime beginning of last year, maybe the year before it was, maybe 2 years ago. And I was like, what? So I use that as my baseline for everything. Can you do a post about XYZ? Yeah, it's $250. People don't even blink an eye.
No, I know.
All right, cool. $250 is no problem.
You've got to understand they've got millions.
Yeah, like that budget needs to be spent or it's gone.
Of course.
So.
Of course. And I think one key element for those that are listening who want to get into this particular world is understanding the importance of engagement and not just figures. I think a lot has changed in social media in the last 3, 4, 5 years, whereby back in the day, if you had
it was numbers,
100k, it was just a numbers game, and you could tell because the a level of an amount of advertisements that these 100k followers had was every story. But then you can't sustain that because people, they clock on, they're like, hold on, you're just a walking advertisement. So then it dropped massively. I think James Smith talked about this the other day, about how important it is for engagement, and companies will look at your conversions. We're coming back to that point whereby how much do you charge. I think a good way is you need to also have that level of self-respect for yourself and go, hold on a minute, if I'm getting 10k story views and a pair of jeans is 50 quid, let's look at the conversion for, say, fashion, for example, and use like 3%. Yeah. You then take that to the company and say, look, with my numbers, with my figures and engagement, you could potentially make like 30, 40 grand. I want 10% of that. And then when a company's approached with that, they go, he knows what he's talking about, fair enough, we'll pay this person. Yeah. But I'm massively used to undercut, because I used to think, surely I can't charge it. But like you said, they have got budgets set aside each financial year. Yeah. And I remember a couple of companies have come to me toward the end of that and said, look, we'll just have this amount and do a post.
Yeah. I think the grassroots effect of, I still call myself a micro-influencer. Yeah. About you. Yeah. That grassroots effect of just targeting a shitload of micro-influencers, paying them all a couple £100 each, which is shitloads to them. It's like it just riddles out into the community, and then before you know it, Legend London is everywhere. Just like Gymshark. They send us a few packages, they don't necessarily pay us for it, but we love that.
Cool. And now a box of Gymshark on Black Friday.
That's all we wear.
Yeah.
And it's like, but now our 60,000 people will now see that and they think, oh, that's quite cool. And
of course.
But they're doing that to 100 other people.
I know. But then we also need to have a bit of
I feel special.
Yeah, of course. But then I was having a bit of thinking myself the other day. I was like, right, what's really going on here? Like what we doing with I love Gymshark.
Should we dissect it? We don't know what's going on with Gymshark.
We ain't got. I get a lot like, what are you working with Gymshark? I mean, I was pumping a lot of time and effort, and obviously we went up to the Live Club, which was fantastic, and the fact that we've got that at our disposal is just insane. Yeah, like I went there, did the flow shoot up there, and just thought, and I love Johnny as well, the boxer. It's just incredible. It's really good to, aside from any financial gain or anything like that, the fact that I almost feel like a part of.
It's a personal achievement.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
like
got nothing to do with business.
George as well, absolutely like lovely bloke. But then it's like, well, what are you doing? You get to the point whereby, hold on, if I'm, our combined viewing of hundreds, thousands, and we're wearing their stuff, what are we really getting back from it? So there needs to be that like, hold on a minute. Do you know what I mean? But I'm very, very grateful for what they've done for us. It's been absolutely fantastic. And like you said, the fact that we got like a box. I didn't even know a package was coming.
No idea.
So like my return was like, let me get the green screen out and do a little Black Friday job for them.
And they know you're going to do that, so it's very smart from them.
And they've got the flagship store opening up in London, didn't they? Regent Street.
On it was
it's like that little curve in it in London.
It's going to be some bank, that is.
Can you imagine?
It's going to be cool though.
He did a video. I think he did a video the other day.
I saw that.
It's like Nighttown basically, but Gymshark.
They've just reverse engineered it. They've started online and brought it to the street, whereas everyone else was on the street and gone the other way.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Really, really cool.
That is insane. I can't, because I think they've had a few pop-up shops that I've never been to.
Yeah, they've done a few.
But just to walk into a Gymshark is
crazy.
Is mad.
Because I know the importance of flagship stores where I used to work at Lululemon.
Yeah.
They used to make, and this is a lot what Ben said, was like they want to make it an experience.
Of course.
And the one thing that we did at Lululemon was the moment that person walks into the store, they're going to have the best time of their life until they leave. And they're going to learn something from something, because there's so many key selling points that you and I don't have a clue about these tops. Like one's breathable, one's got silverescent in it so you don't smell, one's 4-way stretch, one's 2-way stretch. There's all these different things about these clothing that you could probably just go, I like the look of that, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Well, with Lululemon, like, you'd be educated through that process. The fitting room comes with your own name on it. Like, there's so
really.
Yeah, you get your own name on it.
I've never bought any Lululemon stuff.
You can only refer to the person by their name that they give you from then on, and you get personal with them. Like, there's so many little things that I know Gymshark are going to bring into it. It's going to be a hell of an experience to go there.
Wow. Yeah.
You turn up at 9 o'clock on a Friday morning, and there's a yoga class going on.
In Lululemon?
In Lululemon. You move the rollers out of the way and you do it in the middle of the store. Like, it's some real cool stuff.
That's insane. I never knew it was so detailed. I knew the
It's on
quality.
a level. It's on a level, honestly.
It's a little expensive, innit? Because someone said, "Oh, on the Q&A the other day, do you wear any Lululemon stuff?" I was like, "No, Josh does though.
Yeah.
It looks bang quality, mate."
Yeah, I'll tell you the secret though. Is I bought. So you get like 60% off when you work there.
Really?
Yeah. So I
Crikey.
fucking loaded up. And if you ever get a hole or a stitch missing,
Yeah.
you can go replace it lifetime warranty. So I've never bought anything since. I just like there's a little hole in it.
Really?
I'll go take it back, swap out for a new pair.
Just cut. Yeah, that's clear. I used to do that at McDonald's. I used to say, "Mum, look at this." I used to get 3 quarters away for a quarter pounder. I used to take a bit of hair out and I said, "Look at that." Like, that's back in the Forest Hill days when we was living on the bread line, stealing from McDonald's, mate.
I think Gymshark are just keeping us right here.
Yeah.
Just keeping us under their wing.
Flirting with us. Seeing what happens.
Because, like I said, we're still micro-influencers. You look at the guys they've got. Matt Does Fitness, 2 million.
Yeah, it's another level.
Ethan Payne, millions and millions. Like, their influences are big things.
Yeah.
We're still little things, unfortunately, but like we're little things with a big fucking punch. So I think they're keeping us under their wing because they can see. And like, actually, George said this. I don't know if you were in the earshot or in the conversation, but he said, "You guys are the new age.
Yeah.
You guys are the up and comers." And I was like, "Whoa!" The head of Gymshark influencing is saying that to me. I'm like, "Well, I'm doing it right." Like,
yeah, I suppose we need to affirm that to ourselves because sometimes you just get lost, don't you? Like, sometimes I completely forget what, if any, we're having any impact.
Yeah.
Like, and I uploaded a video the other day, and people were like, "Oh, you don't realise you're being too hard on yourself. You don't realise how much of an influence you have," and you just forget completely. I think you get so absorbed in this world whereby you don't just poke your head up and go, "Hold on a minute." It only feels like yesterday that you came to that studio flat of mine in West Wickham and we did some content together.
Yeah.
And now you've got this and that, and me and you do it, and I've got it's very endearing to hear someone like that say we are we got to say we are the new generation. Like,
we are,
believe it or not, we are having that influence. We can see as soon as we walk into Crayford that copying our exercise movements.
Yeah.
We got guys that are doing my bicep drop set. I'm like, I want to put that on YouTube the other day, didn't I?
Yeah,
got people wearing your 1MR and Joe's clothing. So we are definitely having that.
It's surreal. That
impact, which is incredible. I mean, I'm very, very insanely grateful. I think the last year in particular for I think a lot of us with this whole COVID shit was that it was a chance for everyone to self-reflect and to improve.
Yeah.
And that's what that video was about yesterday, like the sort of transition from bodybuilding to lifestyle, which is always someone said, "What is lifestyle?" I don't even know. Like, what I was trying to label what lifestyle is. I'm not stopping bodybuilding. I'm still very much training. I'm just not competing anymore.
Yeah.
But now, like, there's this fixation on lifestyle because I think there's so many different avenues. There's so many extra avenues with like a lifestyle person, like with clothing when it comes down to like recipes, gym pop.
I'd struggle to set goals. That'd be my issue, I think.
Really?
Like,
that's interesting.
If I stop bodybuilding,
yeah,
I'd go into lifestyle,
yeah,
because I want to feel better, look better, feel healthier. But I'd need
very interesting. You said that.
I'd need a goal. Like, I'd need right. I need to go fucking do a triathlon. I need to go do this bike race. I need to beat the time I did on my bike last week. Like, whatever it is, like I'd find it really difficult to because it's like general, isn't it? It's like I just want to feel good, look good. It's like, well, I do, but then what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I fucking need.
Mate, this is why I struggled last year, and I had that time off because it was getting my head around the fact that I don't have an off season now where I've got to get to 110 kilos. I don't have a prep whereby I've got to do 6 months of dieting. And when you strip that away from someone that's had it for, I've been competing since 2014, 2015, obviously at a high level, but the rigorous dedication that's required when you exposed, man. Like, the bubble burst when I competed, went to Marbella with Joe, came back, and I was like, bam.
Yeah, reality.
I was like, reality has just hit me fucking hard, man. What do I do now? What do I do? What encapsulates lifestyle? And you kind of, you need to be very careful that you don't get into that headspace of like looking at the successful ones, like, I'm just going to copy him. Yeah. I'm just going to do what like Rob Lips is doing, for example. Because I suppose the thing with lifestyle is all of those people who haven't set out as have they got, I'm going to be a lifestyle influencer. It just comes naturally, doesn't it? Like Joey D becoming naturally of being this lad in Ibiza that kind of snowballed into him now being quite a like fucking spiritual guy and things like that. I don't think it's planned.
No.
And the reason why I struggled last year because I was too fixated on having a plan with what obviously it's very good and I think it's needed in terms of like business ventures, but you can't force certain things.
No.
Like I was like, I can't put myself in a position whereby I'm forcing to create content that I should be creating, because that's what I felt like I was getting towards the end of bodybuilding. I was getting in that space of like, I really don't know what, like, the members site. I've got a lot of content on here. It's now time for a kind of a refresh. But yeah, it's very, very interesting you said that. But now the door is open to so many things. Like I could schedule in a white collar boxing match, or like, you know,
fucking right.
Do you know what I mean? Like the fact when I go on the pads with Johnny, he's like, you got to get the boxing, and I think, oh. I mean, if we can gather build a little hype around calling someone out, and that,
so good, man.
Do you know what I mean? So there's definitely.
Who would you want to fight?
Brandon. Just say like.
Do you think you'd say yeah? I think you'd say yeah.
I don't know, mate. If you listen to this, it'd be a good laugh. I think going to like a however long boxing camp with each other, do it for a charity. Just like choose your charity, hire out a venue. That'd be good. I think it'd be quality. We'd go bare knuckle.
How much do you weigh?
92 key. He's a big boy though, man.
Yeah. Would you go up or would you come down, or meet in the middle?
Meet in the middle. Yeah. But he's long as well, man.
Yeah, you got quite long arms.
I've got long. My wingspan is longer than my
height.
I've got 178 height and 181 width.
That's some reach, man.
But I get in the body, man. I pepper him up, man. I'd love to do something like that. But it's definitely. I panicked a little bit because I went through this period where I was experimenting and did like intuitive eating, and I weren't logbooking, and taking that away from someone that's been so long is tough, man. Yeah. But now I'm in a position where I'm back logbooking. I sort of protein semi-track. I'm still in a gaining phase up until March. I've just applied that same kind of intensity that I would do with the contest prep to business. Like the whole Ibiza Classic thing just has allowed me to. I mean, it's not even being released until March, which is two months away. But the fact that, whereas before with previous business ventures, I'd leave last minute, man.
Because bodybuilding's at the forefront.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The bodybuilding was always there, and I'm now in a position whereby I've got whatever drop in. I can now reverse engineer.
I definitely noticed that. Like I can see, like obviously you don't chew everything, but I still follow Tom's stories. I still like learn a lot from what Tom's doing, because we tend to hold our deep conversations for the podcast. But like, I can see that like you're going the extra mile and everything now. That detail is like, it almost feels like you're doing what you wanted to do.
Oh, 100%, mate.
You know, you're really like spending hours on you know, something small, but that is you. Like that is like encapsulates you. Those little finer details, those levels that people don't go to, like, and that's what's going to be the difference.
Yeah, and that's why I started to feel a bit ratty, because bodybuilding inhibited me to do that, man. I lost not necessarily lost my passion, because we had Gigi that was doing some incredible work, and I'm missing greatly. But it's almost come at quite a nice time that he's now moved on, because it's put me in the position whereby I'm like, I have to step up now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Because you wouldn't trust anyone else.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there will be a time whereby I need to call on another videographer, but the fact that Gigi just sort of knew me and his clients so well, and the fact that he was a bodybuilder and a coach, and
it worked perfectly.
You know, he was like
synergy.
Yeah, man, and that, we used to have like a business catch up every 3 months, and he'd look at mine. It was more than just a videographer. Yeah. I mean, I remember we sat down in that coffee shop in Shoreditch, and he just pulled out his iPad with all of the different things for me to potentially do with content creation. I was like, fuck me. Yeah. You're supposed to turn up, film, edit, and then you're done. Yeah. You're done. But then the fact that he had that level, and you know, I'm sure it's out there. I'm just back to that problem of being where I'm just so particular about content. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you said, I spent like, I think it was about 3 hours finding a particular font. Yeah. The other day, I didn't have that time lost.
But that's you, man. That's always been you. That just fits. It just makes sense. It elevates the content. It makes it. Yeah, this is proper. This is. You know?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's fun, and I'm doing consult calls. I've never done that and knew that, because I've never really considered myself an online coach. I suppose it's always been a kind of back pocket thing. But now it's so not. I get really excited to like check in with clients every Monday now. Like I lost that before because back in the day, Monday was a chance for me to like reset the week, goals for me.
Yep.
I've got to hit scale weight. I'm on the hack squat with you and Joe on Thursday. Whereas Mondays now for me is that slightly more balanced in the sense that I'm excited to check in with the clients and see their progression, see their weight loss, which is cool.
Nice.
Which is very, very cool.
Lovely. Little transition.
Yes, mate. Very, very good. We were going to speak a little bit more about the privilege, weren't we? About how our different, just back on looping it right back to the whole Molly May situation and seeing how both of us who've led probably different upbringings,
very different,
have brought us here now. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Which is crazy because I remember you speaking quite openly about it on the train about how like there was no worry, like growing up, and you was a bit shit with yourself, which is like fuck, that's mad to hear something like that.
Nothing. Like I lived in a small town mentality. I was very privileged as a kid, like only child. My mum was a teacher, my dad was like a salesman who got commission every now and again. So, 2 incomes, 1 child. Like we travelled a lot, and by travel I mean like we went on holiday. Like we didn't travel, bro. Like in the Like I didn't experience culture.
Yeah,
I just went to like nice hotels. So like, I definitely went to those like hotels and just like, oh, I'm on holiday. I didn't pay attention to the culture, the surroundings, the people, what people have to go through. I just went, oh, they're nice in Thailand. Like rather than like, wow, they're experiencing, real poverty, real hardship every single day. Those kind of conversations didn't come into my head. I walked around like no issue, whatever. Like when I came to London, it was very, very stark that I was out of place.
Yeah.
Because I didn't look over my shoulder. I didn't worry about who was up behind me. I didn't worry about nothing until I got attacked. And then I'm like, all right, okay, this is a different world out here.
You took that mindset. Where was it? East London?
Bethnal Green, bro.
I mean, of all the places to choose,
right
Josh,
in the heart of Bethnal Green.
Of all the places to take your life over there and plonk you in Bethnal Green, is a big culture shock, mate.
But yeah, I lived that sheltered life, man. Everyone was white. The odd black guy here and there, the odd Asian guy here and there. Everyone was white. Everyone had white conversations. Everyone was small town mentality. No one talked about the future, cultures, different ideas. No one was creative. No one thought about outside of Stroud. Everyone was a plumber, an electrician, or a.
Do you think you've benefited? And do you think you've ever seen any kind of benefit of your privilege in like real life situations and business?
100%. 100%. I get it every single day. Like I will never be judged for my skin color. I will never be judged for looking a certain way because it's just how I've been brought up. Like this is a really awful example, but whenever I'm like smoking a joint or something, like walking down the street, my friends, my Bengali friend, for example, Shabab, who's from London, he's like, bro, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't give a fuck, bro. No one's gonna stop me. I said, if they stop me, I'll put it out. He's like, bro, if they stop me, they'll put me on the ground. Yeah, I'm like, it doesn't even, that conversation doesn't happen to my head. And actually, when I first started learning about racism, it wasn't until like university when I was really lucky, man. I was like just a white guy picked up, put in a block full of different people, Arabs, South African black guy, Russian guy, Australian guy, and all these like, it was like a melting pot of cultures. And I went, oh fuck, you've actually got to worry about that. I went, what are you thinking about, right? And I could start to I don't understand it, of course I've never experienced it, but when these guys are having conversations about like, oh, I can't do that thing that you can do, like casually, and that kind of just blew my fucking top off. Where I was like, what are you worried about, man? And he's like, bro, I'll get fucking, I've been stopped, like my Bengali friend, he's been stopped 30 times in London. I've never even been touched. No one would ever touch me. In fact, the very few times that I've been pulled over, we were in a car, there was 4 guys, him and 3 other white guys. They searched him, and not us 3, and we were the 3 fucking doing it. It's crazy. It's just crazy. So, like, I am a product of my privilege, I would say, for sure. Like
it's mad interesting, man. Because there were occasions during my upbringing whereby I was like the minority in my primary school. Like that's
just mind blowing to me.
It was, and then I suppose when it's ingrained, like when I grew up, when I didn't necessarily see it happening firsthand because there was such a diverse multicultural element whereby there wasn't really, I didn't really feel like that was going on. And it's weird because I remember going from Lewisham to Hayes, and I just naturally migrated to like the black and Asian, just because it's like I've grown up with them. Yeah. And then even that, I remember people saying, "Oh, you think you're bad?" And I was like, "Sorry?"
What do you mean?
I have no idea what that you think you're bad because you hang around with them. I'm like, what? So you're correlating their skin colour with how bad they are? I'm like, fucking hell, what do you mean? And that was like the privileged like kids there that had grown up in Hayes. And it wasn't like, no, I didn't see them and go, right, in order for me to look hard, I'm going to go and stand with those lot. It just came naturally because I grew up with those guys.
Yeah.
And there happened to be a kid from Lewisham as well. I was like, oh, I was born in Lewisham. Lewisham Moss. It was like, oh yeah, me too. So the kind of friendship grew from there. But yeah, no, it's insane to hear stories like that.
Like I if you took me at maybe not 22, but if you took me at 18 and put me on that podcast, I'd probably say the same shit.
Of course,
because that conversation has not happened. I didn't even know that stream of thought existed because I've never, been exposed to people who have been, subject to racism, homophobe, fatphobic. I've never really I had never even touched that, and this is why I'm so grateful for university, because it was like within that first week, I was like, wow, it's not just me on this planet, and like until then, that's all it was. Me and my mum and going to school and coming back. But then as soon as I kind of went and realised that there's a whole load of world out there and some horrible things that happen, like that's the first time I realised that I was like, oh shit, I've won the lottery by being born like this.
Yeah. Mate, it's very interesting. I feel like we need more time to discuss that.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. I think
we'll speak about it when old Joseph is back from Dubai.
Living it large.
Right, ladies and gents, hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. Sorry, it was just us two. Joe's in Dubai. Run away to Dubai. But I think we'll resume things. Is he back end of the month? Is it?
He's gone for 2 weeks, isn't he?
He's gone for 2 weeks. All right, cool.
And then I go for a week.
Oh, really? Oh, fucking hell, we're doing solo podcast at this rate. Hi guys, it's TM Cycle Show. Been deserted. Right, see you very soon. Thanks for listening.
Nice one, guys.
Take care.